Breaking tonight, Mark Carney just did something no Canadian Prime Minister has ever done. He delivered a Christmas message that wasn't about Christmas at all. It was about power. Everyone saw a holiday greeting. Financial analysts saw political theater. Trump probably saw weakness wrapped in festive packaging. They all missed what actually happened. December 25th, 2025. Two carefully orchestrated moments. One unified strategy. And a message to Washington so clear, so deliberate, so precisely calibrated that the world is only now beginning to understand what Carney just revealed. This wasn't a Christmas message. This was a sovereignty declaration disguised as holiday cheer. Here's what Canadians woke up to this morning. A government Christmas ad featuring their Prime Minister, not reading a teleprompter, not standing behind a podium, actually participating in a lighthearted video about Canadian airspace control that millions would share. The setup was simple. Transport Minister Stephen McKinnon receives reports of an unidentified object in Canadian airspace. Carney calls him, concerned. They access the secret room. And then McKinnon's personally authorizes Santa Claus to proceed with deliveries across Canada. The whole country laughed. Social media loved it. It felt warm, human, relatable. And that's exactly when the real strategy began. Because what looks like a fun Christmas ad to the average viewer, to anyone actually watching Canadian politics right now, that was something completely different. That was the Canadian government demonstrating complete control of Canadian airspace. That was Carney showing a prime minister monitoring who enters Canadian territory. That was Canada, in a comedic format that millions would share, reinforcing the single most important geopolitical reality facing this country. Canada controls its own borders. Canada monitors its own airspace. Canada makes its own decisions about who gets access. Translation, not you, Donald, not ever. The ad wasn't random holiday fun. It was strategic positioning. Make Canadians laugh first. Make them comfortable. Make them feel connected to their government's sovereignty role. And then, once that emotional foundation is established, deliver the actual message, which came hours later. Carney's official Christmas message started the way most people expected. Warm tone, holiday greetings, talk of family and togetherness and reflection. The kind of safe, predictable content that prime ministers have been delivering for decades. Except it wasn't safe at all. In a more divided and uncertain world, Carney began, the holiday season is an opportunity to slow down, reflect, and focus on what really matters. Divided, uncertain, world. Those aren't normal Christmas message words. Those are geopolitical assessment words. Those are the words leaders use when they're preparing their population for pressure. Then he went further. He talked about darkness. He talked about despair. He talked about hope following difficulty, light following shadows. He acknowledged that Canadians are facing more than their share of challenges this year. This wasn't a feel-good holiday speech. This was a prime minister telling his country, without panic, without drama, but with absolute clarity, that serious challenges exist and Canada needs unity. Political observers noted the shift immediately. Most prime ministerial Christmas messages vanish within 24 hours. Safe. Forgettable. Designed not to make waves. This one was different. This one acknowledged real pressure. This one prepared Canadians for difficulty ahead while emphasizing national strength through unity. Because Carney wasn't pretending the world is fine. He wasn't hiding from reality. He wasn't doing what weak leaders do when they don't want to acknowledge hard truths. He was doing what strong leaders do when they know their country needs to hear something real. He was preparing Canada for what's coming. Dear viewers, between the lighthearted Christmas ad and this unusually serious holiday message, something critical was happening. Carney was building emotional credibility. He was showing Canadians their government is human, relatable, capable of joy, and then he was using that credibility to deliver a much harder message. The world is unstable. Challenges are real. Canada must stay united. But here's what the message really revealed. That warning wasn't primarily for Canadians, and it was for one specific person watching from Mar-a-Lago who has spent months publicly threatening Canadian sovereignty. Aye aye. Because behind this Christmas message, behind the emotional reassurance, behind the warm tone, is a very real geopolitical shadow. And that shadow is Donald Trump. This is a man who has mocked Canada repeatedly, who has suggested Canada could be treated as if it were America's 51st state, who has openly threatened Canadian sovereignty throughout 2025, who has made the world wonder what he would actually do if given the chance. Trump's 51st state comments aren't theoretical anymore. They're documented, repeated, escalating threats to Canadian independence. In December 2024, Trump called Trudeau Governor Justin Trudeau of the great state of Canada. In January 2025, during his inaugural address, Trump stated he would expand U.S. territory during his presidency. In February 2025, he announced 25% tariffs and urged Canada to become the cherished 51st state. In March 2025, he told NATO allies Canada should join the U.S. In September 2025, he revived the rhetoric again, telling military officials Canada should become the 51st state and you get it for free. Canadian officials have consistently rejected these threats, but Trump hasn't stopped. He's intensified. And today, on Christmas Day 2025, while most world leaders deliver safe, forgettable holiday greetings, Mark Carney responded. Not with panic, not with aggression, not with the kind of emotional reaction Trump uses to dominate news cycles. With strategy. Carney made Canadians laugh with an airspace control video. Then he made them think with an unusually somber acknowledgement of global instability. Then he reminded them that unity is Canada's greatest strength against external pressure. All in one day, all coordinated, all deliberate. Now step back and look at what actually happened today. 2 distinct moments, 2 different tones, 1 unified message. First, the Christmas ad. Canada controlling its airspace, authorizing access, making sovereign decisions about Canadian territory. Delivered with humor so millions would watch and share it. Second, the Christmas message. Carney acknowledging global instability, preparing Canadians for difficulty, building national unity against external pressure. Delivered with empathy so Canadians would trust him. What connects both? Sovereignty, Canadian autonomy, the absolute rejection of external control. And what's the common threat to both? Trump's increasingly aggressive rhetoric about Canada as American territory. This wasn't 2 random political communications. This was a 2-part strategy designed to send one message to multiple audiences. To Canadians, your leader is human, grounded, and honest about challenges ahead. Trust the government to navigate this. Stay united. To Donald Trump, Canada is monitoring, Canada is prepared, and Canada will not be pushed. Here's what makes this moment so significant. Trump has spent months treating Canada like a joke, making 51st state comments, suggesting Canadian territory could be acquired, mocking Canadian sovereignty as if it were negotiable. And today, on Christmas Day, when most world leaders deliver safe, forgettable holiday greetings, Mark Carney responded, not with panic, not with aggression, not with the kind of emotional reaction Trump uses to dominate news cycles. With strategy. Carney made Canadians laugh with the airspace video. Then he made them think with the unusually somber Christmas message. Then he emphasized that unity is Canada's strength. All in one day, all coordinated, all deliberate. And the message to Trump is absolutely clear. You're not getting Alaska 2.0. You're not getting Greenland's northern neighbor. You're not getting anything from Canada except the firm, consistent, unshakable reality that this country will defend itself. What Trump probably expected from Canada was fear, nervous diplomacy, quiet capitulation disguised as pragmatic cooperation. Maybe some backroom deal, where Canadian leaders trade sovereignty concerns for economic access. What Trump got, instead, was a prime minister, comfortable enough to use Christmas communication strategically, serious enough to acknowledge global instability honestly, and clear enough to emphasize that Canadian unity is the foundation of national strength. That's not the Canada Trump thought he was dealing with. That's not the weak northern neighbor he's been publicly mocking for weeks. That's a country that just shifted its entire communication strategy to send one message. We see you. We understand what you're planning. And we're already 10 steps ahead. Most Canadian Christmas messages disappear within 24 hours. They're polite. They're safe. They're designed not to offend anyone or create controversy. This one won't disappear. This one will be referenced for years, not because it was dramatic, but because it was real. This Christmas message acknowledged what everyone is thinking, but most leaders won't say. Canada faces external pressure. Global instability is real. And sovereignty, the foundation of Canadian independence, requires national unity to defend. Carney didn't sugarcoat it. He didn't pretend Trump's threats are meaningless. He didn't dismiss legitimate security concerns to maintain a holiday cheer. He told Canadians the truth, and then he showed them Canada is ready. That kind of leadership, that kind of clarity, that kind of strategic communication It changes how a country perceives its own position in the world. It changes how allies view Canadian resolve. And it absolutely changes how adversaries calculate their approach to Canada. Trump thought he was dealing with a country he could bully. Today, Carney showed him something different. A country alert. A country prepared. A country that will defend itself with every tool available. The warm Christmas tone wasn't weakness, it was confidence. The serious acknowledgement of challenges wasn't fear, it was realism. The coordinated messaging wasn't accidental, it was strategic clarity. And together, those elements created something Trump hasn't encountered from Canada before. A unified national message that says, politely but firmly, absolutely not. Trump operates on chaos. Unpredictable statements, sudden threats, impulsive decisions designed to keep opponents off balance. Carney just showed him that Canada operates differently, methodical, strategic, coordinated across multiple platforms to reinforce one core message. Trump makes threats on social media. Carney builds national unity through humor, empathy, and clear communication about global realities. Trump tries to dominate news cycles with outrageous claims. Carney uses Christmas, the one day everyone is paying attention to leadership messages, to position Canada as the calm, rational, prepared actor. That contrast matters, because the world is watching how Canada handles American pressure. Allies are watching, trading partners are watching, and what they're seeing today is a country that won't panic, won't overreact, and won't surrender sovereignty no matter how loud the threats become. This Christmas message was the opening move in a much longer strategy. Carney isn't going to respond to every Trump provocation. He's going to pick his moments carefully, use them strategically, and build a consistent narrative that positions Canada as the stable, sovereign, independent nation it's always been. Trump wanted to test Canada. Carney just showed him that test is going to be harder than he thought. Because behind this Christmas message, behind the emotional reassurance, behind the warm tone, is a very clear geopolitical reality. Canada is peaceful. Canada is kind. Canada is compassionate. But Canada is not naive. Canada is not weak, and Canada will never allow anyone to take advantage of it. Trump makes threats about the 51st state. Carney builds Christmas messaging around airspace sovereignty and national unity. Trump dominates headlines with chaos. Carney uses the most peaceful day of the year to remind Canadians why their country is worth defending. Trump assumes volume equals power. Carney just proves strategy beats noise every single time. And if anyone, including Trump, believes Canada is easy to test, they may be making the biggest mistake of their lives. This Christmas message wasn't just about celebration. It was about strength. It was about awareness. It was about reminding the world Canada will always stand tall. Canada will always protect itself. And Canada will always remain proudly, confidently, unquestionably sovereign. As we close, I want to wish every single person in this community a very Merry Christmas and a peaceful, joyful holiday season. This community means so much to me, and your support truly keeps this channel going. If you enjoyed this breakdown and wanted to stay connected with everything happening in Canada and beyond, make sure to subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and join our growing family. Because this story, this sovereignty battle, this transformation of Canada from reactive diplomacy to strategic independence, it's just beginning. And you're going to want to see every move Carney makes next. Merry Christmas, Canada. Stay strong, stay informed, stay sovereign.